What is the stupidest shit you've ever done? Hit a golf ball onto a recently drained lake and decided it was playable from the mud. On my third step onto the lake I sank up to my chest. Took a chain of 3 people to pull me out. And my god, the smell. Should have taken the penalty. Did you learn nothing from all the warning about quicksand we had as kids? You'd think I'd have learned something from The Princess Bride and The Never-Ending Story. Using my thumb to wipe the hair off my razor in the shower. I did this the first time I ever shaved. I still remember vividly how it feels like. Cringe F. I know exactly what you mean lol. Was baking bread and had a Pyrex dish with water in the bottom of the oven for moisture. Checked the oven. Water was gone. My dumbass decides I need to pour more water in. A split second flash of what would happen goes through my brain, but I do it anyway. Cool tap water plus hot Pyrex and BOOOOM. S explodes everywhere. I've been finding random bits of Pyrex in my kitchen for years now. So, that, and heroin. So, that, and heroin. Got a mime on a Zoom meeting, and just burst out laughing. Hope you're well. I'm all good. Thanks. Been off it for years now. When I was a kid I had really dry eyes for a time, and I told my sister. Between us we decided that the best course of action was to smear a bunch of my mum's face cream into my eyes to try and stop the dryness. This, of course, went as well as you'd expect, and my eyes immediately went red and swollen, and since I couldn't blink away the thick layer of cream straight away I was convinced I was blind forever and went blundering out into the hallway crying and made it halfway down the stairs before I tripped and fell. I like to imagine my parents hearing the commotion and seeing one child rolling down the stairs screaming and crying with 2 giant lavender scented blobs of cream for eyeballs and the other child staring in horror from the top of the stairs desperately trying to wipe the incriminating lotion off her hands. Just the imagery of this whole situation made me cackle at 4 AM after having a pretty shitty week. I can't give you a gold, but here is a humble silver. Hahaha, thank you. Sorry about your shitty week my friend. Glad my childhood stupidity cheered you up lol. Sending good thoughts your way. Forgot my own phone number while leaving my client a voicemail. This was yesterday, and you can reach me at 555. FCK. 457. No. S. Just call this number back. Apostrophe. Not getting my S together sooner. SMH. I didn't do it. But I nearly jumped off a 30-meter drop without the safety cable attached to me. I think it was meant to be a bungee thing without bouncing back up. I was just so ready to get it over with. I didn't look before I leapt and the guy on the deck with me grabbed me when he saw I was ready to jump and yelled holy. I haven't attached the cable yet. Nearly died over something so stupid. My excuse is that I was 14 at the time. Edit. Wow, this blew up. My top comment is how I was a dumbass during my teen years. Great. A little background: I had my eyes shut the whole time I was up there. So when he attached the harness and said all set, I thought that was my cue to go. Also, it was an auto belay. Edit. Q. Damn autocorrect. You spared that guy a roller coaster of horror and hilarity at the dumb kid who yeeted themselves off the edge without a bungee. When I was a kid, my parents were watching a show where they were finding gems/gold inside of rocks, and I obviously wanted to find gold too. So I went outside and threw a giant rock on the ground, and it ended up bouncing right into our glass sliding door. Shattered. How pissed were your parents? Drunkenly ate 2 Carolina Reapers. Buddy's dad grows peppers. Next thing I know I'm over the toilet puking up what felt like lava. My brother once ate a whole habanero pepper. He said it was so hot that he was farting sparks. We used to grow habaneros. One of my proudest moments was watching my brother eat slice after slice of habanero on only tortilla chips. My friend and her boyfriend were over, and this guy was trying to impress us. Ha. No one beats my brother in spicy food. Turned out her BF was a complete swipe. So I felt even prouder my brother swindled this guy into torturous pepper punishment. I was 4 or 5 years old and my little brothers and I were jumping on our parents' waterbed with Q-tips in our ears, cause we thought it looked funny. I was jealous that my brothers both had Q-tips that were bent in silly shapes in their ears, while mine were perfectly straight. I jumped off the top of the headrest and landed ear first on the bed in an attempt to bend my Q-tip more than this to assert dominance as the eldest brother. Q-tip pierced through my eardrum and went all the way inside my ear. Looking back, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing anything stupider than that in my whole life. This made my ears hurt. It was absolutely terrible. Eating afterwards was horrible. The pain when trying to swallow the food was no joke. We got drunk at some chick's house who I'd never met before. The place got pretty trash, so when she went to bring a friend home she asked if we'd clean up a bit. I'm still pretty lit at this point and see all these half full cups all over. The kitchen sink was full, so the best idea I could come up with was vacuum out the liquid and dump the cups. It makes the funniest gurgling, slurping sound I've ever heard, so I go about sucking up about 100 ounces of liquid into this vacuum. The chick comes home while I'm about 90% through all the glasses and stops dead. I turn around and look at the vacuum, which is one of those old ones with a fabric bag on it, and it's a deluge of jungle juice pouring into the carpet. I turn back to her, completely deadpan as the concept of what's happening is only now dawning on my alcohol-soaked brain, and say your vacuum cleaner's drunk. She promptly kicked us out, and I never saw the poor girl again. Moral of the story: don't let shitty 16-year-olds get drunk at your house. Could have been a great love story about how you stayed back and cleaned. You both fooled around and now you've been together for 5 years. But now you fucked her vacuum and left. When I was a kid, I took my Nintendo apart so that I could use the parts to build a remote control airplane. I used to do this with my remote control cars. Would take them apart and wanted to build a super fast one by putting a motor on each wheel, then realized I had no idea what I was doing. A lot of cheap remote controlled cars, you can make a super fast one by replacing the AA batteries with the 9V overclocker LVL 99. I went to a coffee shop with my family and ordered an iced hot chocolate. My mom proclaims, "Oh, that's just chocolate milk." As I'm about to argue, the barista chimes in and says, "Yeah, that actually is just chocolate milk." But I still ordered it anyways and drank my iced hot chocolate in shame because it is indeed just chocolate milk. Iced chocolate isn't a thing there. It's regular milk with chocolate sauce drizzled in the cup, a scoop of ice cream, and whipped cream topped with chocolate powder. Absolutely gorgeous. Where are you from? Cause both the barista and my mom looked at me like I was an idiot. What you just described sounds so delicious. Broke the window of the principal's office. Not on purpose. I was throwing a stone at a tree, but my aim was so bad it took a 90 degrees turn and went right into his window. There are no accidents, Master Uruguay. Are you saying he deserved it? Probably. I had a principal who hit me with a paddle, and then later on I was outside with a ball and I kicked it, and the wind caught it, and it went through his window. It was a very sad and unfortunate situation. Probably that time I full on S my pants in the street, waddled a block home to use my bathroom, then dropped my keys into my filthy toilet while I was trying to take off my S-type pants. I just imagine someone waddling home and defeat XD, or waddling home and defesses. I called the cops on myself because I thought I saw a ghost. Was working midnight shift at an old movie theater. After the last person left, I confused the shadow of my torso reflecting onto the empty movie screen for a disembodied ghost. I ran and told the manager, and because I had planted the ghost idea in his mind, he went in, saw his shadow, and decided there was in fact a ghost, and called the cops. A cop arrived. We told him what we thought we saw. He rolled his eyes at us and went into the theater. But we had planted the idea in his mind already too. And he came out with his hand on his gun and a bit pale in the face. He called more cops. A second cop arrived, went into the theater, realized we had seen our own shadows, and came out laughing his ear off at all three of us. Manager and I were embarrassed, but OMG that poor first cop. Eventually there were 10 cops there and some were laughing so hard at him that they had to support themselves on the sides of their squad cars. Between bouts of laughter, one made a spooky ghost sound, and another mimed putting him in handcuffs as they both laughed even harder, and that made all the rest of them completely lose their s laughing. Honestly, let's say there was a ghost. What the f would the police even do? Arrest it? Saw on a tube of super glue that it said bond skin instantly. I was wondering what instantly meant exactly. Was it in a few seconds, or did they mean right then? So I glued my fingers together, the thumb and first 2 fingers on my right hand, and stayed that way for 2 hours until my mother came home, because I didn't know that acetone will dissolve super glue. And before you ask, I was 17. How was your day, honey? Mom holds up okay sign. You. Lost my phone in my bedroom. To help locate it, I tried calling it using my phone. You're the Zen monk who went outside at night to find his only lantern, using the light from the lantern in his hand. Or the me who lost his car keys in his car whilst driving his car. Or me who lost my 3D printer and tried to print a new 3D printer with my old 3D printer. I once tried to eat my phone while wearing a mask because I simultaneously forgot that I had the mask on and also forgot which hand was carrying my phone and which was carrying the cookie I was eating. Edit. I remembered another one. Was dreaming I was swishing some mouthwash around. Then I woke up halfway, just enough to realize that I no longer had a sink in front of me, but not enough to realize that I didn't actually have Listerine in my mouth. Figuring I couldn't just swallow mouthwash, I instead elected to spit into my blanket and wash it later. This was a conscious thought process, albeit one heavily muddled by sleep. The lunch ladies requested extra disposable masks on beloved Pizza Dippers Day because so many kids forget to take their masks off first. Pizza Dippers Day. Brought a BB gun to school to trade with my friend for his PlayStation. Sadly though, the BB gun looked like a real gun and was just after Columbine and I went to school in Colorado. A student saw it and reported it, and hit the fan pretty damn hard for me in 5th grade. Got expelled for it and made the local newspaper. What about the PlayStation? He had tons of free time to play video games after he got expelled. The plan worked perfectly. Drunkenly sold my landlord's lamps while living in her apartment. Hell mayo, she found out. Yes. Lol. How much did you get? 6 months. When I was in college, about 19 to 20 years old, my friend and I, both female, both super drunk, were standing outside a gas station at about 2 AM waiting for someone of age to come along and buy us beer. Eventually a few slightly older guys that we'd never seen before came by and said they had beer back at their place and would we like to go hang out with them. We thought that was an A+ idea. They then said the best way to get to their place was a shortcut through the woods behind the gas station. After zero thought whatsoever, we said, lead the way. Remember, this was in the middle of the night and we're drunk. This was also pre-cell phones. So, off we go into the woods with these strange men. There's not much more to the story other than we made it out of there a few hours later without getting law and order sued. And interestingly, both my friend and I actually went on to date 2 of the guys for a while. But seriously, people don't follow strange men into the woods in the middle of the night. Paid $60,000 on a house renovation without really vetting the contractor. It looks okay, and they worked hard enough, but they didn't address a flaw that was sagging. Now it's very noticeable and extremely hard to rectify without dismantling the entire kitchen. At least they did the work. I had one take $5,000 from me for nothing. Filed a lawsuit. He failed to show, so I got a default judgment. What good that did though, since I have no shot of getting it. Wait, so you won, and you can't get your money? So people can just steal and get away with it? Yes. A couple of years ago, the 4th of July was a few days away, so all of the stores had decorations and clothes with stars or red, white, and blue. In a busy clothing store, I, with no hesitation, picked up a shirt with a blue star on it, and across the clothing section I asked my mom, when is the 4th of July? You can imagine how embarrassing that was when everyone turned and looked at me. I can only think of what was going through their minds. When Halloween lands on Friday the 13th, you're gonna see some shit. I tell you. Someone once asked me when Cinco de Mayo was. Cinco de Mayo is my birthday. When I told a friend that, she said, isn't that Mexican Halloween? I still don't let her forget about it. Unknowingly walked through gang territory late into the night by myself. I accidentally cut off a car full of gang members in a supermarket car park this week. They chased me and I drove like all hell. That's scary shit. Apparently the neighborhood I walked through at night was the same neighborhood where my friend had a shotgun pulled on him. He said I got really lucky nothing happened to me. They're not fucking around. Wait. So they are aggressive even to non-gang members? Yes. I walked across a working train trestle. It was like 100 feet into a rocky gulch either side. 100% chance of death if a train came. Also, when I was little I decided I wanted to throw a pair of shoes up onto some telephone wires. So I went in my mum's closet to find some shoes. For some reason I thought she'd be less likely to notice if I didn't take a complete pair, so I tied two random shoes together with the laces from a different shoe, then threw them on the telephone wire in front of my house. I am just imagining your mom driving up to the house. Oh, someone tied shoes. Two different ones? Weird. Wait, I have a pair of those sneakers. Wait, that style, too. I stumbled into a emergency shutdown button in a water purifying plant. Received a hefty compensation claim. Edit. By that I mean I had to reimburse the company for the damage I caused by pressing that button. Forgive me. English is not my native language. Whoever designed that did a poor job. If it can be tripped from someone tripping, they are put in a place where they are easily activated in a panic. Really they should be somewhere where, if you fall just right you can trip them. I don't get why hitting the shutoff was such a big deal. They should have been able to just restart everything once they knew it was an accidental shutdown and not an emergency. My father worked in a car making factory as a worker for the company that maintained the painting mechanism. At the time, that could roll one $10,000 car off the line every minute, so if it was stopped because of him, they would bill his company $10,000 per minute the line was down. Hiding in a basement with my cousins at their house. Burning styrofoam with a lighter we stole. Decided to pour a cup or so of gasoline on it. It inevitably exploded onto us all. We all ran out of the basement while on fire. Went out pretty quickly, only burned the clothes, and ran straight to the grown-ups upstairs. Luckily they stopped the fire from spreading in the basement. And unluckily we got the whooping of a lifetime. Fun fact. Mixing styrofoam and gasoline is one way to create napalm. I reckon we got off easy then. Had a friend move in with me and my girlfriend because his depression was worsening due to living with his mom at 26. Gradually began bad-mouthing me in front of and behind my back to my girlfriend. This evolved into her going to him with things she didn't like or agree with in our relationship. This ended up leaving me virtually homeless to be with him when she kicked me out during Christmas/New Year's holiday. F that noise. I hope you're doing better now. Yeah, definitely. Have a girlfriend now who I'm super happy with. The first 6 months were pretty hard though. It got better probably a year after it happened. Any idea what ended up happening to him? Supposedly they're still together. No one I talk to regularly talks to anyone associated to him anymore, so I really wouldn't know for sure.